I want to, one more quick thing, and then I'm going to get to the double down on truth. But I just want to talk about America in 2021 very briefly, and the truth about America and America's future. What the left has succeeded in doing. I was thinking back to, we talked about right after the time on July 3rd when President Trump gave his speech at Mount Rushmore, and it was a great speech. I played segments of it. We talked about what he was saying. There was a great speech. Part of what he did in that speech was to speak for the first time much more openly and directly about the idea that there are forces in this country on the left that simply want to radically destroy America, radically change America, radically take away America's freedom. What the left is doing in this country, the determination to destroy the founding values of America, this is what the left is. I commended President Trump's speech on that July 3rd at Mount Rushmore because he was very eloquent. He gave examples, and he was exactly right that what the left is doing is extremely destructive to our country. That's what Trump said on July 3rd. And this is, I think, the beginning of the ability of all of us to be talking about what we're going to do in 2020, what we're going to stand for, what our party to stand for. The idea we're going to say, we are the party that wants to continue America's heritage of freedom. We're the party that is going to stand up against the cancel culture that is silencing speech on America's campuses. We're going to stand up against the cancel culture that is forcing American businesses to salute to the radical American left. We're going to stand up for law and order in the cities in our country. We are not going to allow these Democrat mayors and other Democrat officials, we're not going to allow them to let BLM and Antifa destroy this country. But so there's a need to expose the left. But the other, in the more positive way, and I'll wrap up the show by today is saying this, part of what the left has succeeded in doing through the 1619 Project, the New York Times is doing, through their relentless attacks on America, through their characterization of America as an evil country, through what they've done in the education system. So kids leave high school and college and grad school thinking that America is an evil country with a horrible past. The left has succeeded in equating American patriotism with white supremacy, equating American patriotism, love of America, with racism. And that is an evil, evil thing the left is doing, and is right for and needed for our side to speak up more firmly and absolutely and powerfully and happily and positively about the idea of America, the real America that I think millions and millions of Americans still know exists. Millions of Americans know what the goodness of America is. I think President Trump can speak, and others running in federal office can speak positively about the goodness, the nobility of the American people, the nobility of the medical profession in our country, finding solutions for coronavirus that are helping people, that are bringing people that are actually effective treatments, because we have a wonderful, robust, more or less still free market healthcare system. We need to be speaking in positive terms about the goodness of America, the goodness of the American people, the nobility, the rightness of the American people, the generosity of the American people. We need to be praising the American people and how good they are, how good this country is, because it will help expose what the left is really saying to America, which is the leftist message to America is that America is a really, really bad place. When you can't, on the left, call America a deeply racist country, but say, but I'm not calling people racist. Of course they are. Force the American left to acknowledge what they are doing. They are attacking all of America as racist and all of America as selfish and evil and all the things, all the ways they're characterizing America as a bad country. They are insulting, they are accusing the American people of those things. So on the right, to wrap up today, I will say, on this, going back to the beginning of the show, I was talking about what is exactly we can be running on. We need to be running on the pro-America side, on the real America side, on the love America side, the idea that America is still the most extraordinary experiment in human liberty ever to bless this earth. that individual rights matter, that freedom of speech matters, freedom of religion matters, that we reject and will fight against the cancel culture. We will not allow the destruction of the American cities. We will insist on law and order. We will insist on the equal rule of law. So we're going to prosecute people who engage in wrongdoing. Everyone from the people who broke down that gate into a gated community in St. Louis to the officer in Minneapolis who engaged in the deadly conduct toward George Floyd. We have a rule of law and everybody's subject to it. If we don't have that rule of law, we don't have America. If we don't have a city where you feel safe on the streets because we've had crime growing in this country, you lose a piece of America. There's so much goodness about America. I think our side needs to be praising the American people, speaking up for the goodness of the American people, and really cornering the left into either agreeing that America is a great country full of good people, which they cannot do because they spend all their time attacking the American people, or, at the very least, you're exposing what the left is really saying. American leftists have gotten themselves to the point, I'm talking about the prosecutor who can't go after people who break down a fence into a gated community. I'm talking about prosecutors around this country letting the destruction of their cities happen, letting takeovers happen. They've gotten themselves to the place the left has in this country. They cannot stand up for law and order. They cannot stand up for the rule of law. They cannot protect their citizens. They will not protect their law-abiding citizens. They will protect the mob instead of the law-abiding American citizens. And we need to put it to the American people that starkly. You can have a future that looks like Portland burning down, which we showed yesterday, or a future where we demand and expect that everyone complies with the rule of law. And when you do engage in violent conduct and you do burn down buildings and you do smash windows, you will be prosecuted. There is just a need to paint two radically different pictures of America's future. And you tell America, we tell America, the side they're going to want to be on. Because I don't really think all these Americans who are, supposedly unsettled and kind of wondering which way to go in the fall, they don't want their city to become Portland. Portland doesn't want to be Portland. The law-abiding citizens there do not want to have what's happening. They don't have a government standing up for them. So I think that the conservative side, the pro-America side, can be very positive, very upbeat, very on track with the messaging that we stand up for the idea of America, and the America in the future we're going to create is the future you really want for this country. And what the left is going to create is utter destruction of this precious country.